What's up, everyone? I'm Tamara, and welcome to Tam Psych Advice. Do you think ENFJs have the capacity to break more hearts than most other MBTI types? Do they know their own strength when it comes to pounding into someone else's ego? Do they have patience to care about someone when both of their worlds are intertwined into this moment? You like me, I don't like you. So will they use kindness, or will they use cold, aggressive tactics to get away from the person because they just don't want to deal? Or are they going to be left in their own confusion where they don't know what the heck to do? I think a better question is not if, but when heartbreak happens and when it's not reciprocated. Like the ENFJ is not receiving the heartbreak, they're giving the heartbreak. So do you think ENFJs break hearts on purpose? That they use their persuasive power to hurt people? Let's face it, being liked can feel really good. It feeds the ego. It could be an aphrodisiac. They could get addicted to that feeling. They can find themselves in this situation often. They do attract people. I don't know if it's because it's a rarer personality, or they tend to accidentally draw people in, or they make people feel heard, or they make people feel wanted. They wake up a piece of a person that could be lying dormant, but they do have great capacity for empathy, for stepping into someone's shoes, for understanding who they are. There's a lot of validation there. There's a lot of, I'm sensing what you need, so I'm stepping in there. Those kinds of things feel really good to people. So ENFJs can unwittingly draw people. ENFJs have enormous charisma that they're often not even aware of. ENFJs are probably breaking hearts all the time, and sometimes they don't even know that they're breaking hearts. Before you even agree to start anything, you can feel the tension mounting. The person hasn't even told you that they liked you yet. I'm talking about that point. You feel their energy, you feel the tension, you see the smile, you see the glimmer in their eyes. You know it's coming. They're plotting and scheming and planning so that they can bump into you or take a walk with you or make an excuse to approach you. You know it's coming. All the signs are there. It's building. The ENFJ is probably terrified at this point. So do you try to stop it from developing? A conversation is going to happen. There's possibly going to be tears. Elation happens, or complete turbulence. That's the point where somebody goes into their own heartbreak at that point, or they let you know that you've hurt them, or they think this is the point when I get real aggressive. It's been building, okay? It's been building. I'm not ready to let go. You just let me down because I've been dreaming of this moment. ENFJ is going to have a plethora of emotions about this, because sometimes when they're in situations like this, they're going to say the wrong things. They're not going to know what to say. It's like they could rehearse it in their minds, and then that moment comes and everything just comes out wrong. They want to be cold and rude and let the person go. Either way, they're left with awful feelings. And I've probably done too many wrong things as an ENFJ, and so I decided to take a poll on my community section of this YouTube channel, so you could check it out if you want. If someone has a huge crush on you, but you are really not interested, how do you handle it? 17% said run from them, avoid them. 60% said be kind anyway. 0% said be as rude as possible. 10% said mix it up. Be mean, nice, and ignore. 13% said no strategy. It's their problem, not mine. So how would you answer? I'm an ENFJ, so I'm going to tell you how I would answer. I'm going to give you my top 2 answers, but before I do that, I'm going to tell you one that I did not choose, and that is the 60% be kind anyway. The problem that I have is that giving someone false hope and then they can interpret things as you're giving me mixed messages. If you're really kind anyway, is that leading someone on? I want to choose 2 answers in this survey. My first one would be the 17%. Run from them, avoid them. And that might shock you a little bit. Like, is that morally and ethically wrong? Of course, I as an ENFJ am going to ask myself that question. If there's someone intensely interested in me and I'm intensely not interested, I don't like conflict, so I don't want to open a can of worms that I know I can't get out of. And this might sound really harsh, but that would be a strategy that I would try. Duck and weave, avoid, go around, hello, goodbye. Like, make that introduction as quickly as possible. Oh, I gotta run, I'm busy. Just keep closing that door, closing the door, hoping that it will wear the person out some and that they'll get the message. Because if we get to that point of conversation, what is going to happen? Are they going to talk me into something that I don't want to do? And because I don't like conflict, I'm not going to be able to get out of it as easily as I can. And so now I'm in a situation that I don't want to be in. ENFJs can use coldness or seriousness or withdrawing as a tactic to get out of something because they know they're not going to have the words to say. Is that reeling someone in? And ENFJ is going to think about that. And so being a little mean, a little cruel, what lasting impact is that going to have? This person treated me like dirt when I was very vulnerable to them. You're not going to want to be left with that type of blood on your hands either. So it's so hard. I personally never wanted to get to that point where you ask me out or we have this conversation. So if I can avoid, somebody wants to give me a spanking or tell me a better way to handle those kind of situations, then please tell me. I'm all ears. My number 2 second answer would be 13%. No strategy. It's the other person's problem, not mine. This might sound really cruel, but as an ENFJ, I want to save people, and that is a cycle that ENFJs can get into. We're always trying to save people. We always have a solution. We know how to get people out of binds. It's like I'm rescuing myself and I'm rescuing that other person. Now that person is heartbroken, so I'm heartbroken. They're eating ice cream to soothe themselves, so am I. It can be too much because, hey, I got my own thing going on. Somebody might be over here rejecting me. So now I'm dealing with somebody rejecting me and I got to deal with rejecting somebody else. Sometimes it's just too much. And so as an ENFJ, I have to give myself permission to say, your feelings aren't my feelings. Your journey in life is different from mine. I have to trust that other people can go through the process of healing just like I have to go through the process and not rob them of that awful opportunity that could lead them to growing and becoming better people. When I say it's not my problem, it's me giving myself permission to not take ownership of another person in a way that now we're both falling apart, because an ENFJ can easily fall apart. Like, we do that constantly, like all the time. It's not that I would necessarily be able to stick with that. I think my natural tendency, if I'm hurting someone, would be to sit with the person, soothe the person, give them lots of hugs. You're gonna be okay. I'm sorry I'm having to do this to you. Let me check on you. Let me bring you a blanket. Let me bring you a cup of tea. Let me nurture you. Let me stick with you while I try to unbreak your heart. And again, I think that sets the person up for false hope. Say you're doing all this comforting and soothing. You might do what you said you weren't going to do, and that's start to fall for the person. Because familiarity is key. You're constantly around them, engaging. Familiarity is kind of a psychological trick. This isn't going to work in the long run. And now I'm finding myself coming into agreement with it. I don't want to come into agreement with it. I want to escape the situation because I believe there's something better. Some people call ENFJs master manipulators. Why? Because ENFJs generally understand people, but they may not be manipulating like you think. Like, a lot of times they're just going with the flow. Sometimes they can answer things when they're thinking of something else at the same time, and they just kind of know the right thing to say, or they're not always thinking as deeply as you think. They're just kind of going with their own rhythm. However, there is a lane that ENFJs could manipulate a situation. Like, do I want to trigger the person to start ignoring me? Try to ignite some retaliation, like you see me doing all of these things to avoid you, whatever. Basically want to start the person on the process of letting go. Intent is always what is best for this person. If we get to a place of conversation, ENFJ clause might come out, because at this point they have really struggled internally with it themselves, and they don't want to be mean because that could be super damaging. So the intent is always good. It usually is coming from a good place, unless they're just going through a phase where they are just dogs. If you're trying to feed your own ego, it's going to get really old for an ENFJ really quickly, because you're still left with people's emotions and you can't turn those off. If you decide, I'm going to engage with this person because I don't care, I'm just going to have fun with them, play them, eventually that's going to lead to a problem. And ENFJs can use their gift for fast forwarding to say, I'm not going to go there. Let's just not even start it. And I think ENFJs can be quite crafty at saving you and them. All of this being said, you might think, so what? Who cares? You know, we haven't even gotten to the date yet. Preventative measures. That's what ENFJs do. And the problem is there's a very large group of people who do not react very well to rejection. They don't react well when they've been building to this point and dreaming of you and wanting to connect with you. And you know at that point, it doesn't matter what tactic I take. If I let this thing build out of control, if it gets to the point of a conversation, it's not going to go well for a lot of people. And a lot of people try to front, and it's just not true. There are people who talk all this noise, and then you found out they're slithering on the floor, falling to pieces because this person that they really liked rejected them and said, I'm not interested. So you could take this tactic of, I'm going to be really nice and tell you, oh, I'm so sorry that you're feeling this way. I don't want to hurt you. What can I do to ease the pain? That's not going to work. Or you say, get over it. I don't want you. I'm not interested. Move on. That's not going to work either. You know that a conversation isn't going to work. It's going to still result in someone acting out on you. And I think that happens to men more than it happens to women. But that's not a good feeling either. Be prepared for these moments. So what do you do, ENFJs, when someone has a huge crush on you and you just don't like them back? And if you're struggling with love, check out my book, Flip the Script on Love by Tamara Hunter Zyon. I'll put the link in the description box because it's going to help you get to the romance that you want, and it's going to help you deal with these kind of situations where it's like, what the heck do I do? And I'll also put the link to one of my 3 ENFJ playlists. You can go under playlists and find the other 2. Got over 150 videos to help you to understand every angle of an ENFJ. And I think you'll enjoy them very much. Got lots of choices. So you guys, I hope you find the love that you want so you don't have to keep going through this. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye.